Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and always go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee, co-host Raina, and we're going to do our July wrap-up. It's unbelievable to me, but true, that it is the end of July. So, happy August, happy Garb August, and I must say that I had never realized how much hoopla there is on Booktube around this idea of Garb August. And if I didn't know any better, I would think that maybe a lot of you really, really like to read garbage, which is fine. Enjoy it. So anyway, here we go. Let's talk about what I did in the month of July. So, what did I start out the month with? Well, I started out with Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This was a new author for me, and this was a book that I enjoyed very much. I will read more by him, I'm sure, at some point. I did do a full review of this book with my partner, Donna. She read the book as well, and we reviewed it together. I will put a link to that video below. Next, I went to some nonfiction, and that was The Wager, A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny and Murder, and that is by David Grann. This was another winner. In fact, I'd like to talk about this one maybe a little bit more in depth right now. I read this for the ellenmadebookclub, and I will link Ellen's channel below. And basically every month what she does is she chooses a few books to read and discuss, and you can read these along with her if you like. And then she has her viewers come up with some questions about the book, and she will answer those in a video. And so this was actually the book for June, one of the ones that I agreed to read as part of her book club. And I didn't get to it in June. So I did read it in July. And since Ellen has already answered the questions about this book, I'm going to answer the same ones. So somebody had asked, does this book remind you of any other books you've read? And I would say, yes, absolutely, it does. Obviously, it reminds me just a little bit of Moby Dick by Herman Melville. It also reminds me of a book called Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. That is a book that has been made into a movie. And like David Grann, Ms. Hillenbrand writes nonfiction very, very well. She's always very well researched and very detailed. She kind of really brings the characters to life and has a good and vibrant writing style. So in that way, they're kind of similar. And in the book Unbroken, it has been made into a movie. You may have seen the movie. It mostly shows a lot of footage of the time that the main character spent in a POW camp. However, that wasn't the only thing that happened to him during World War II. Before his team was captured, they had been shot down from a plane, and they were in the water for days. I want to say it was like 60-something days. It's incredible that they were able to survive that, and it's quite the story. And so that part of the book did remind me a little bit of The Wager. And then also, anytime I think of a book about a shipwreck, I think of The Life of Pi, which was a book that I really enjoyed a lot that I read a few years ago. So the second question that someone asked was, did it meet or exceed expectations? And for this, I'm going to say met, because this book has been on my radar for some time now. It is in the running for the Booktube Prize. And earlier this year, I read Killers of the Flower Moon by the same author. So I was kind of expecting a lot, and I did get a lot, but in that way, it met but not necessarily exceeded my expectations, which were probably pretty high to begin with. So number 3, did I take a side between the factions? So before I talk about that a little bit, let me just show you what the factions are. When things started going badly for this ship, their goal had been to go around the Cape of South America, the Cape Horn down the bottom here, and go up the west coast of South America and plunder some Spanish galleons that they knew were there and were loaded down with treasure. That was their assignment from Great Britain. This wager is a British ship. So when things started to go badly for them, they were kind of in this area, about a quarter of the way up the coast of South America, and they were involved in all of these little islands and things like that. Well, one team put together a boat that was kind of in ruins and got it operational again, and wanted to then go back around the Cape, back up, and then back home to Great Britain. The other team stayed with the captain, and they decided to continue on the actual assignment, and they ended up going up the west coast to the area where they were supposed to be. So the question was, which faction did I side with? And, you know, what kind of ended up happening was this would be a very close question for me, because you would think, well, why wouldn't you just go with the captain, right? Because he is the captain of the ship. He's the one you signed up with. You did sign up with that ship. So to abandon it would be an act of mutiny. Why would you do that? Well, there were lots of reasons, and this captain did some things that, you know, he shouldn't have done, kind of that got them in the trouble in the first place, and really was kind of beyond what he should have been involved in. So I'm thinking, if confronted with the same problem, with the same amount of information and the same leadership provided on the original ship and on the ship that they repaired and went the opposite way with, I probably would have ended up with the mutineers. Not that I think I necessarily have a mutinous nature, but I don't know. It seemed like kind of the better option at the time. Now, later on in the story, may not have been. I'm not going to spoil the story for you, but there you go. I probably would have been with the mutiny. But it's a very close call. Someone else had asked if The Wager was a super dense book. And I think they probably meant, is it a long book? And is it just packed with info that's really difficult to read or to process? And, you know, can you enjoy it, you know, basically just for the sake of the story? And I'm going to say no, it's really not a dense book. The book is only 256 pages, for one thing. It looks a lot thicker, and that's because of the acknowledgments, the notes, and the biography in the back. But also, it reads like a very interesting story. Probably the most challenging part is at the beginning of the story, and that's when many of the main characters are being introduced to us as readers, as well as a little bit about their job on the ship, which I'm not familiar with a lot of that. And that becomes good info for later, but it is a little bit, you know, maybe dense, if you will, to get through it. So to get through the first 30 to 50 pages, I mean, that's when then the action really kind of starts happening. And it'll become more obvious to you how and why things are playing out the way they are. So it's good to pay attention during that time. But yeah, that's probably the most challenging part of the book. So, okay, then I went to House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen. Again, a new author for me. This was also my book of the month. And this was an early release through Book of the Month as well. It will actually come out on August 6th. And I have a full review of this on my channel, and I will link that below too. And then I just finished A Man Called Ove. This is by Fredrick Backman. This is an interesting book. It is very charming. Ove is a curmudgeon-y, meaning curmudgeon-like, older man. He's not as old as me, but he's an older man. And we get to know him through the interactions that he has with the other people in his neighborhood. He's pretty cranky, but as more and more of his past and his personality and his thoughts and his way of doing things begins to become revealed to us as readers, we get to see the other side of him. And basically the point of the story is that not everything is as it seems, and not everyone is following the same program for their lives, or even are necessarily motivated by the same kinds of things. We can't assume that everyone wants a lot of money and a lot of fame, because they don't necessarily. Sometimes they just want treats. But yeah, I can see why this book was well received. It's funny, it's sad, it's human, the characters are kind of quirky, and the writing is actually very good as well. So I enjoyed it overall. This is my first Backman book. I have several more on my bookshelf, and this will not be the last one that I end up reading. In fact, I think I will be reading Beartown later in the fall, probably at the beginning of hockey season. Because that's a book with hockey, story about hockey. Not maybe about hockey, but I guess a lot takes place with some hockey players. Also, I checked out some poetry by Mary Oliver at my local library. One thing was the small book of poems that are all about dogs. It's called Dog Songs. And I'm enjoying it immensely. All the poems are about dogs. Some are fun, some are sad. All of them are really just great if you're a dog lover. In fact, let's see if we can read just a quick one. They're very short, very to the point, and yeah, they're just fun. They're just nice. So here's one. It's called The Storm, and it features a little dog called Bear. Now through the white orchard, my little dog romps, breaking the new snow with wild feet, running here and running there, excited, hardly able to stop. He leaps, he spins until the white snow is written upon in large, exuberant letters, a long sentence expressing the pleasures of the body in this world. Oh, I could not have said it better myself. So all of the poems are like that. And if you're curious, Raina has been in the snow one time. So let me let you go for just a minute and take care of something, and I'll be right back. All right, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, Raina has been in the snow one time. We took her to Massachusetts in the wintertime. Couple of years ago. I think it was actually like maybe even the first year we got her. And at first she didn't want to walk on the ice, and she was afraid of the piles of snow. She had no idea what they were. Now she's from Puerto Rico, and we were living in Florida at the time. So, she had never seen, I'm going to presume she had never seen snow before. And we kind of finally got her to sort of walk on it a little bit. But then we took her on a trail that was in the woods, and it was just, there was a lot of snow at that time. There was probably, good 8 inches or so. And she absolutely loved it. She went crazy when she saw it, ran through the snow, was chasing squirrels and everything. And it was great. It was just like the poem. So, yeah, she had a lot of fun with that. I also got another book of poetry by Mary Oliver. I think I showed this the other day. This is Devotions. It is another collection of her poetry. I think it has probably most of the dog poems in it, but it has a lot of other poems as well. Now, I didn't think I was going to read these cover to cover, but I am, because I'm truly enjoying the poetry that much. So, lastly, I am still listening to A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving. It's a 28+ hour audiobook, and I'm only listening to it when I go for walks, provided that I don't have any other company with me. So I think I've listened to probably about 10 hours or so far. And this is a re-listen of a reread for me. It's actually the 3rd time that I'm going through it, either from reading or audiobook. And I'm enjoying it again. I forgot how great John Irving's writing is. And when it comes to, just wringing out emotion from an everyday event, I think he's just really brilliant. So if you haven't read him, I strongly suggest that you take a look at one of his books. He's different, but it's in a good way. So just one more thing. I did my Wizard of Oz project this month, and this is how it came out. Now, I've showed this on my channel before. This is a book that I decorated with these they're plastic, but they call them diamonds, little plastic diamonds. They call this diamond painting or diamond art. And I've actually read this book countless times, so I probably won't read this copy, even though it's a very fine copy. Nothing wrong with it. It's even got some color plates of pictures. These are the original, type of color plates that were in there. So yeah, and it looks great. So I'm just going to probably use it to decorate my bookshelf. But if you're interested, someday I can show you all some of my other diamond art that I have hanging around the house. I don't always obviously decorate books. Some of the other things, most of the other things that I have are done on canvases, which is kind of more traditional way to do it. But there's all kinds of things. There's kits for all kinds of things you can make. Bookmarks and journal covers, all kinds of things. So anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that one other time. If you want to see it, give me a comment below, and I'll just see if there's people that are really interested in it. So that'll be for another day. For now, thanks for watching. If you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, leave me a comment. And especially if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned, or if you are interested in seeing some diamond painting, or if you diamond paint, let me know. And let me know what you think. So, again, thanks. Have a great day.